told you there's a gentle, unorganized way to have your home feel calm, and it's one that doesn't require rigid rules and hours of work. The steps are simple, they're forgiving, especially if you're busy or you're tired or just over the pressure to become perfectly organized. I'm really excited to share them because they've helped me a lot. If you find yourself relating to this, you might consider subscribing because we talk about ways that we can live calmer, better, happier lives, and we actually do those things. You know that feeling when you're trying to get organized or declutter and suddenly you're surrounded by piles. Everything is covered, and the house looks worse than when you started. Traditional decluttering often tells us we need to make hundreds of decisions about what we're going to keep or discard in one sitting, and that's exhausting. That's stressful. That's demotivating. And there's another problem. Sometimes we think we need to get it perfectly organized. We may think that if we don't end up with color-coded bins and empty shelves, we've failed. Thanks to Pinterest and Instagram for that lie. If we buy into it, perfectionism can paralyze us before we even begin. The truth is, your home doesn't have to be perfectly organized to feel peaceful, and it doesn't have to be empty either. That's where the unorganized steps come in. Step number 1 is undecide. This is my favorite because it completely takes the pressure off. Instead of deciding right now if something's going to stay or go, you undecide. So here's an analogy. Imagine trying on a shirt. You just don't feel real comfortable in it that day. You look in the mirror and you decide, not today. And you put it back in the closet. You don't throw it away or give it away. You keep it. You just get back in the closet and pick out something else to wear. But if every time you try on the shirt you don't feel comfortable in it, then eventually it becomes a candidate for decluttering. The undecide method works the same way. If you're not sure about something, you just keep it until you become sure. But instead of putting it back where it was, you put it in some other space. Maybe a bag in a closet or a box somewhere. And then you just wait and see if you decide you want to use it or, yeah, it's really not something I'll ever use. I have a bag that I keep in my closet downstairs. I have one that I keep in my closet in my bedroom. And if I'm not sure, I'll put it in there. And then I just let it sit. And maybe I'll decide, no, I really want to keep that. Or maybe I'll decide, it's time to declutter, and I go through all of those bags again and give myself a second chance to decide. And that has really helped me cut down on the mistakes. And I wait until I'm ready to do that. I don't push myself to, when that bag's full, I'm going to do it right then. Sometimes I'll get another bag. But essentially, you see, I have decided to not decide. The next step is uncategorize. Most organizing systems say that you need to categorize things right now. Books go here, papers go here, all of your kitchen gadgets go in one spot. But when you're already feeling overwhelmed, that can feel like too much. Instead, I like to think of my homes in zones, kind of like heating zones. In homes that have multiple floors like ours does, each floor has its own heating zone. And each floor has its own thermostat, so whoever's on that floor can decide how cold or warm it needs to be, because each floor has different needs. Your home works the same way with energy. Some spaces feel hot. There's a lot of energy. A lot happens. A kitchen is a good example of that. And even within the kitchen, the countertops can feel like real hot, particularly if things are getting left around. Other areas of your home feel cool. There's not a lot that goes on in there, and it feels really quiet and peaceful when you go in there. This living room is an example of that. I'm really pretty much the only one that comes in here, or someone who's waiting to go somewhere so they can look out the window. I come in here and I'll read and I play the piano, so it just is a quiet place to be. Here's an idea to try. You can use it or lose it now. If something isn't actively being used in that zone, you can think about removing it to another spot and see how it feels, and if you eventually wish it came back into the zone. Put it in your undecide bin, knowing that you don't have to make a commitment about it right now. This creates some breathing spaces in a zone where you know there's a lot going on. An example of that is I have some small appliances that I really like I have a shaved ice maker, and it's on the counter in the summer. but I wouldn't keep it on the counter all year long. Then we have an ice cream kind of maker. We keep it in a closet that we can open up and get it to, but it's not there where I can see it all the time. That helps cool the zone down. But while I could probably make room on the counter for all these things, it would make the zone, my kitchen, feel hotter, more confusing. I have a place in the garage, and I have a place in my pantry where I put those kinds of things. And then I find that if I don't use them, I eventually will declutter them. I don't have to decide at that moment what I'm going to do. I don't have to put pressure on myself. When I'm ready, I make that decision. The next one is the unperfect method. As you go through this, instead of chasing an ideal of perfection, focus on making spaces good enough so they work for your life right now. My kitchen, again, a hot zone, is a place where I do that. I literally, physically cannot steam or mop that floor every day. Sometimes I can't do it every week. It depends on my energy level. Because I have fibromyalgia, I'm constantly monitoring my energy. But I will sweep it because the sweeping is a low energy activity. And so I dial back the perfection. I had to get over the idea that I'm going to be perfect in that room. That room, and actually all of my rooms, are unperfect rooms. Good enough. I go for good enough. The next one is unfinished. Give yourself perfection, not to finish everything, especially if finishing will push you past your energy limits. With the unfinished method, you purposely leave a task partway done. You go off and leave it, and then you come back to it when you want to or when you feel able to. I do that with the dishes all the time. Sometimes I'm just in the mood, I'm going to go in and do them. And other times I look at them, I know my energy's not great, and I go, I'll do it later. With this one, you're basically pacing yourself, knowing that if you pace yourself, you'll end up being able to do more long term. Also, it's important to have fun. When you are so tied in that you have to finish everything, a home in particular is like a rabbit trail. This thing leads to this thing, to here, to here, to here, to here. And before you know it, you've been working really hard all day long. You've burned out, you're exhausted, and maybe it will be harder to do something the next day, and you have not left time for fun. Just give yourself permission to not do it. In my videos, you'll hear me say that. Like maybe I'll say, I am going to wipe this drawer out, and in the process of pulling out, I can see that the drawer needs to be wiped out inside. I give myself permission not to do that, and I'll say, not today. Not today. And that has really helped me to actually say it out loud. I'm not going to finish this now. So you might want to try that. The next step is the unhold. This is where you're going to loop back from the decluttering. When enough time has passed, you pull out your bags, your boxes, and you go through them. Decide if it's time to let them go or to put them back. If you don't know what you want to do with them, just leave them there. That's fine. So this is where you start to feel calmer. You feel less pressured, and you feel more practiced at managing this way instead of feeling pressure or pressuring yourself to get everything decided, everything decluttered, everything clean, everything finished. And you'll stop worrying about making mistakes, because for me, most of my mistakes happen when I'm moving too quickly. So there you have it, my 5 unorganized steps. 1 is undecide. Remove things without committing to keep it or toss it. Number 2 is uncategorize. Number 3 is unperfect. Make your spaces just good enough for now. Number 4 is unfinished. Give yourself permission to just get it partway done, drop it off, leave it, and come back when you're ready. Number 5 is unhold. Go ahead and get rid of what you've decided that you don't want to keep, or put back the things that you want to keep. Just get them out of the whole bag or box. Unless, of course, you're not ready to decide, then just leave them there. These steps are gentle, they're forgiving, and for me, they work for my real life. So if you're feeling unorganized, just pick one of these and try it. Just one of these unorganized steps. You might be surprised at how quickly you'll feel this shift when you've given yourself permission not to do everything perfectly, not to decide, not to get it done. It just might work out that you're doing more than you thought you would. So I hope I see you again. Bye.